In drill music, the weapon often defines the rapper. Lil Jeff, known as King Draco, lived and died by the gun. In Philly, Leaf Ward always had a switch on him, ready for whatever came his way. Over in Harlem, Sugar Hill Keem dropped basketballs for Glocks, even firing one in broad daylight. And Rondo Numba 9 once made headlines for pulling out a rocket launcher. This is the story of drill rappers and their favorite weapons. Let's start with Sugar Hill Keem and his weapon of choice, the Glock. Before Keem was known for gripping Glocks, he was holding basketballs. Growing up in Sugar Hill, Harlem, Keem spent his early years playing ball, hoping the court could be his way out. But when he realized basketball wasn't getting him anywhere fast, he turned to the streets. And in Harlem, when you put down the ball, you better pick up a pole. Keem chose the Glock. It became his go-to, on the streets and in his music. One moment that really made the Glock his signature weapon came during a wild incident in NYC drill history. Keem was walking through the city with Blockwork, who was still his friend at the time. Out of nowhere, a car full of ops pulled up. Most people would have run or taken cover, but not Keem. He pulled out what looked like a Glock and started shooting. Right there in the middle of the street, no cover, no hesitation, just him and the Glock. The ops sped off, and Keem stood there like nothing even happened. That moment turned him from just another Harlem rapper into someone you didn't want to catch lacking. Glock wasn't just a prop in his raps, it was a part of who he was. In one of his most famous lines from Ice Cream Truck, Keem raps, "She just wanna move, I put the gun right in my lychee and boot." That wasn't just a lyric, it was his reality. Keem kept that Glock so close, he passed it off to his girl like it was a purse, but it wasn't just for show. In May 2022, while on parole, Keem went live on Instagram and flashed a Glock. The NYPD had been watching him, and that live gave them all the proof they needed. He was arrested the same day and hit with a 5-year sentence. That Glock helped build his name, but it also helped build the case against him. This wasn't Keem's first run-in either. Years earlier, he and Blockwork got pulled over in an Uber while riding dirty. Police found a gun in the car. There were no solid snitching charges, but rumors flew. Eventually, Keem turned on Blockwork and accused him of being a snitch. That whole beef started from that incident, with a Glock in the car. It wasn't just the ops or the cops watching Keem. He knew the risks of flashing that Glock, but he didn't care. He treated it like a microphone, something to be seen with, something to speak through. Even after getting arrested, fans could tell Keem was never moving without his pole. In drill, weapons are more than just tools. They're part of the identity. For Keem, it was never a .22 or a revolver. It was always the Glock. Light, easy to hide, and reliable. Perfect for someone always outside and deep in beat. Whether it was tucked in a girl's boot or used in broad daylight, Keem didn't just rap about the Glock. He lived it, and the consequences came with it. After his arrest, Keem was sentenced to 5 years. His rise in the New York drill scene got cut short, but his name and that Glock are still part of drill history. Everything came to a stop the moment the Glock came back into the picture. That's the double-edged side of drill. What helps build your name and keep you safe can also be what gets you locked up. Right now, Sugar Hill Keem is in prison and set to be released in 2027, but whether he's free or behind bars, the Glock will always be part of his story. He didn't just rap about it, he used it, flashed it, lived with it, and in the end, it's what got him sent away. Keem might have started off trying to make it by shooting three-pointers, but in the end, the only thing he was shooting was a Glock. That weapon shaped both his career and his downfall. Now let's talk about Rondo Numba 9 and his favorite weapon, an RPG. Rondo wasn't just known for his drill lyrics and ties to 600. He went viral for showing off a weapon that shocked the internet and made headlines in a city already dealing with heavy violence. This wasn't a Glock, it was a rocket launcher. At the peak of his rise, Rondo posted a photo on Instagram holding what looked like an AT-4 rocket launcher with the caption, "Cooling it with my new baby." This wasn't a toy or some fake prop. The AT-4 is a real anti-tank weapon made in Sweden and used by the US military to destroy armored vehicles and fortified positions. The version Rondo had a blue stripe, meaning it was a training model and not live, but to the police and the public that detail didn't matter. Chicago police were already watching drill rappers closely, especially those with gang ties. So when someone from 600 with a growing rap career posted a photo with military-grade gear, it immediately set off alarms. Cops didn't just quietly investigate, they went public. Authorities put out a warning saying a gang member might be walking around with a rocket launcher. The bulletin even had Rondo's real name and photo, like he was a wanted criminal. Rondo deleted the post and tried to play it off as a joke, but it was too late. The image spread fast and became one of the most talked about moments in Chicago drill history. Even though he was never charged over the RPG, it made his name blow up for something way bigger than music. It blurred the line between online flexing and real-world consequences. To this day, fans still talk about it like a myth. It also sparked rumors. Was there a real plug in Chicago handing out rocket launchers to rappers? Or was this one training model just passed around for attention? Nobody really knows, but one thing is clear. In a genre full of Glocks, switches, beams, and extended clips, Rondo took things to the next level. That RPG became part of his image. Even though it wasn't loaded, the post summed up everything. About drill at its wildest. Guns, clout, fame, and consequences. Rondo might have been ahead of his time with the music, but that one RPG post locked him into drill history forever. Most rappers post their stick. Rondo posted a war weapon that wasn't his favorite. It was one of the most legendary flexes in the game. Now let's talk about Lil Z Osama and his go-to weapon, the switch. Zay rapped about switches like they were basic add-ons, like they came with every Glock in the trenches. But to the feds, a switch doesn't just make your Glock fire faster, it turns it into a machine gun. And in 2022, that's exactly what got him caught up. It happened in New York City. Zay got picked up by an Uber driver at a hotel in Manhattan. He was headed to a recording studio in Queens.
Spank playing with 6. That's my dog. Hell yeah, man. I'm gonna be up in Champagne. What day we gonna be up in Champagne? Look at the 12 down there. They doing stopping traffic? Folks already just got locked up for knocking one of their ass out. Not right here, down there. They finna come out. They finna try to hop out on us. On my daughter, they just pulled up, hopping out. I'm telling them, gang, that ain't us, y'all ain't on us. Y'all on them other people. We don't got nothing to do, nothing going on.
During the ride, the Uber driver noticed something on Zay, Glock 22 with a switch fully loaded, 1 in the head, 9 in the mag. Because of the switch, the Glock was fully automatic, meaning Zay could empty the whole clip in under 2 seconds. After Zay and his crew got out of the Uber, they accidentally left the gun behind. The driver saw it, called the cops, and when the NYPD showed up, they confirmed it was a .40 caliber Glock with a switch, no scratch-off serial numbers, no ghost gun. It was a real steel weapon. Later, the Uber driver identified Zay as the person who had the gun sitting in his lap. That one statement was all the feds needed to hit a Chicago rapper with a machine gun case in New York.
What happened?
What's up, bro?
Which one? What's happening?
I just got a call.
What's happening?
What's going on? I gotta do the talk. Thanks.
What's happening?
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back. What happened? We're gonna short it all up. We're gonna short it all up. What is going on? We're gonna short it all up. I'm the manager. I'm just he's being detained right now. So back up. I'm just.
You get my phone though?
Yeah, you got anything on you? I get his phone.
I'm on.
Body cam footage showed Zay
getting arrested with his hands up saying, "I'm on live," trying to show the world what was happening in real time, but even being on live couldn't stop what was coming. When the feds ran his record, it wasn't. Clean, criminal trespassing, reckless conduct, multiple robbery and battery charges, and even an aggravated discharge of a firearm case. The court saw a pattern, and the U.S. attorney painted him as a walking menace. This wasn't just any street beef. Gone federal, it was a full-on machine gun possession charge which carries up to 10 years in prison. Plus, just having the switch itself is illegal even without it being on a gun. Zay was looking at serious time. Everyone online thought it was over. Some even called him a snitch just because he didn't get the full 10 years. But the truth was more complicated. Zay pled guilty in May 2023. His legal team played it smart, showing that most of his serious charges were from when he was just 15 or 16. As an adult, he only had 2 misdemeanors, They also pointed out he got shot in the chest at 14, survived life in the trenches, and was trying to make it out. They even talked about the rough conditions he faced in MDC Brooklyn, roaches, rats, and a lockdown so bad, it was basically solitary confinement. His lawyers argued he wasn't a threat, just an artist trying to survive in a system that keeps rappers under a microscope. But the feds weren't trying to let it slide. They pointed out that his DNA was found on the gun, and that earlier in 2023, Zay had been caught in a high-speed chase in Illinois with 2 illegal Glocks. One with a laser and switched the other with a 50-round drum and scratched off serial numbers. He was even wearing a $9,000 chain that prosecutors claimed was stolen during an armed robbery in NYC. Even with all that, Zay was sentenced to just 14 months in prison and 1 year of supervised release. With good behavior, he'd serve about 85%. So, just under a year inside, the court recommended FCI Thompson so he could stay close to home in Chicago. Once the sentence dropped, the internet exploded. People started saying, "There's no way you get 14 months for a switch unless you're telling." Zay clapped back saying, "Stop believing everything you hear or see on the internet. You really think you get 30 years for a switch? Hell, nah." People forgot that a switch charge can range from probation to 10 years depending on your record, and Zay's adult record was light. Plus, having a $35,000 bond, a Warner Records deal, and one of the top lawyers in New York definitely helped money talks in court. While broke dudes facing the same charge might sit for 5 to 10 years, Zay's team made. Sure, the judge saw him as a changed man, not a walking threat. Lil Z Osama's favorite weapon, the switch, almost cost him everything. It's the same thing he bragged about in songs, the same thing that got left in an Uber by mistake, and the same thing that triggered a federal machine gun charge. But with the right legal team and a smart plan, he turned what could have been a 10-year sentence into a 1-year setback. Now he's back on the streets, and the internet's still trying to figure out how he beat the system. Bottom line, don't let the lyrics fool you. A switch might sound flashy in a bar, but it's real life once the feds get involved. Deadly in court, and unless you're rich, famous, and lawyered up like Zay, it could be a one-way ticket to federal prison. Lil Jeff and his favorite weapon, the Draco Bloodhound. Lil Jeff wasn't just known for sliding, he was known for what? He slid with every city. Every crew has that one member who doesn't care about moving silent. For the Bloodhounds, that was Jeff. From the moment he popped out in the streets, he branded himself around one thing, his Draco. That's why fans and ops alike called him King Draco. It wasn't a name he gave himself. It came from how he moved, how he talked in songs, and how he turned that weapon into a symbol for how reckless he really was. Jeff started pushing the Draco narrative way before his death. In early songs, interviews, and lives, the term Draco came up constantly. He'd flash it on IG, live, name drop it in lyrics, and according to people close to him, it wasn't just rap. Jeff actually preferred carrying a mini Draco, the semi-automatic AK variant chambered in 7.62x39, because of the look, the feel, and the damage it could do up close. On top of that, it fit the image he was trying to build. Lil Jeff wasn't trying to be slick like some of his Bloodhound homies. He was flashy, wild, and loud with everything he did. He wanted his name to be mentioned with fear, and the Draco helped with that. On multiple tracks, Jeff referenced the weapon either directly or with coded lingo. In his song Exotics, Jeff rapped, "Draco kickbox will knock a right out his socks." The Draco kickbox line wasn't about fighting, it was about letting that weapon loose. Jeff was always walking around showing what he had. Multiple clips and photos showed him holding rifles, without any attempt to hide them. In another track he rapped, "Every time I see an op, I jumped out and clapped, trying to tie up and hold him for ransom shots. Out the Drake, making start dancing." His right-hand man and cousin Q50 even made a tribute song called King Draco, making it clear Jeff had a reputation for pulling it out often, and not just for show. But before Jeff's death, he lost his Draco. He said it himself in the song Lost My Gun when he rapped, blowing the draw with a smile. "I'm having too much fun." Smile turned to a frown when the DRA got bumped. "Damn, I lost my gun." During a street altercation caught on camera in 2023, the one that ended with Jeff losing his life, he didn't have his mythical Draco reports, say Jeff was riding in a striker hunting down ops in Trap City territory. He was spotted stepping out with what looked like a pistol tucked in his black hoodie. Jeff started firing into a home where a Trap City member had run into. That same slide ended. with Jeff getting hit and killed by Trap City. Rob witnesses said before he went down, Jeff emptied a whole mag, letting the pistol spit in broad daylight. It was that type of reckless behavior that earned him his nickname. Jeff didn't just talk. Draco, he let it off whenever he felt like proving a point. On the track, Jeff, he doubled down, rapping, "He ain't get a chance to run, can't say that he tripped, bounced out with 4 sticks, 2 got hit. I done lost my Drake, pass me the switch." Fans immediately connected these bars to the Monty and Lil Rob incident. The Bloodhounds had always been known for wild drills, but Jeff took it to another level. Ops and fans alike started saying he was moving like he had nothing to lose. Once, the internet caught wind of the nickname King Draco. It stuck permanently. What made Jeff's obsession with the Draco so real was that it wasn't about clout chasing. This wasn't just a rapper name dropping a weapon to sound scary. Jeff's Charge's street reputation, and even the way his enemies talked about him confirmed that he actually used it. Even some of his ops admitted he was sliding heavy with it. The connection between Lil Jeff and his Draco only grew after his death. When Jeff was killed on June 8, 2024, fans flooded the internet with King Draco tributes. Bloodhound members vowed to get back in King Draco fashion. Even Jeff's own father, Jeffrey Harris, made it clear. Note, you cut off mid-sentence at even. Jeff's own father, Jeffrey Harris, made, "If you want, I can help you finish that too." A Facebook post saying, "Clear the streets." That post would spark backlash, with many accusing Harris of encouraging the same violence that got his son killed. But it also showed how deep this weapon identity ran in the family. Jeff's music career might have been short, but he left behind multiple songs where the Draco was front and center. He didn't glamorize it the way a lot of rappers do. He used it as a way to establish dominance in his camp. Carrying a Draco meant you were frontlining. The war. You weren't just sliding. You were making noise, catching attention, taking real risks. Jeff leaned into that role, and in doing so became a symbol of wild Chicago drill energy. Loud guns, louder beef, and zero fear of consequences. What makes this connection even more dangerous is that the Draco isn't a subtle weapon. It's loud, hard to conceal, and draws heat fast. And Jeff didn't care. He wanted ops to see him coming. He wanted to be the loudest in the room for drill fans. The story of Lil Jeff and the Draco is a case study in how street weapons become part of an artist's branding, not for aesthetic reasons, but for the fear they instill. The Draco, known for its ability to shoot quickly and hit hard, was more than just a tool for Jeff. It was part of how he moved in the world, the same way King Von was associated with the Glock with a switch or 051 Melee with precision headshots. Jeff was known for pulling out that AK variant and letting it scream when you hear King Draco. It ain't just a nickname, it's a reminder that some rappers didn't separate the music from the streets. Jeff lived the life he rapped about, and the Draco followed him every step of the way from his first music video. To his last day alive, that weapon stayed close. Some call it reckless, others call it real, but in drill the two usually go hand in hand. Leaf Ward and his favorite weapon, the Switch Leaf Ward, came up in West Philadelphia. Before the rap fame, he was just another youngin' trying to make it out. He survived shootings, lost friends to the streets, and kept his foot on the gas as one of Philly's most promising rappers. His voice carried pain and pressure, and when he spit about toting sticks or letting it off, fans believed every word. That's because Leaf didn't just rap about switches. He was really outside with one. In 2023, Leaf started to hit new levels. His feature on Millie's Risk Takers racked up over 16 million views. His own tracks like Power with OT7 Quani pulled serious numbers. Labels started calling ESTG, even reached out. But Leaf turned him down. He felt like he was on the same level, not below. Philly had a new voice rising fast, and it was Leaf. But on August 16th, 2023, one move flipped everything upside down. Leaf pulled up to the King of Prussia Mall, one of the busiest malls near Philly, known for its high-end stores and heavy security. He was with his girl, trying to enjoy a chill night out, grabbing food at Bahama Breeze. But while he was inside, cops in the parking lot were running proactive detail checking tags, waiting for something to pop. That's when they hit on a black Dodge Challenger parked outside. registered to a rental company, and marked as stolen. They moved in quick, ready to tow it. That's when Leaf came out of the restaurant and saw the tow truck. Thinking it was just a regular situation, he ran toward the car, probably ready to talk to the driver. But when he saw the marked police vehicles and officers in uniform, he knew what time it was. He turned around and bolted back into the restaurant. Cops gave chase. Leaf sprinted through the kitchen trying to get away, but there was no exit. A restaurant employee later told police he saw Leaf toss a handgun into the trash. When officers dug through it, they found a Glock 40 with a switch, fully automatic. That switch changed everything in the feds' eyes. It turned the Glock into a machine gun. Leaf Ward, a convicted felon from a prior 2019 gun charge, was now facing federal machine gun possession and felon in possession charges. That's a max of 25 years, and the feds don't play when it comes to switches. Switches became popular in drill culture for a reason. With one installed, a Glock can dump a full mag in seconds. It's a weapon meant for war, not warning shots. Leaf wasn't carrying it for show. He moved like someone who knew he had real enemies, someone who'd already been shot, someone who felt like he had to keep one up just to make it back home. That's how common the switch became in Philly, the new standard. After his arrest, Leaf sat in county jail for 4 months while the feds built their case. The restaurant employee ID'd. The trash can Glock had the switch, his prints, his rap sheet. It all lined up. Leaf had no choice but to take a plea. He agreed to 46 months, just under 4 years, followed by 3 years of supervised release. The court even broke down how serious. His charges were the machine gun possession alone could have gotten him 10 years. As a felon, the second charge carried up to 15. Together, they could have buried him. What made it worse were the terms of his supervised release. If he violated probation, even after finishing his time, they could add more years back on. They made sure Leaf knew he was on thin ice. Even once free, Leaf had been hit with a gun case before. In 2019, he caught a charge and got sentenced to nearly 2 years. Now he was facing the feds. Philly was eating its own, and all it took was a simple night out, a switch in his waistband, and a car the cops were already watching. At the same time, Leaf Ward's career was finally catching momentum. The Millies feature put him in front of millions. He was performing in Boston clubs, connecting with artists outside Philly, and about to elevate his sound past the local scene. But the switch, the same weapon he likely rapped about, bragged about, and carried for protection, took that all away. Even before this, Leaf made it clear in his music, he was always ready. In one of his tracks, he raps about switches and extensions, telling his ops he's always clutching. His lyrics never glorified the lifestyle. They reflected it. That's what made fans gravitate toward him. But in 2023, switches weren't just dangerous on the streets. They became the feds' new favorite tool. Just having one, even without firing, it could earn you a decade. Leaf had it on him while trying to enjoy dinner with his girl. That's how deep the paranoia runs in Philly. Rappers know any stop could be their last. After the case broke, some supporters thought Leaf might have cooperated since his sentence wasn't as heavy as some expected. But there was no paperwork showing he snitched. In fact, the feds never even brought it up. His deal was built off a weak criminal history and good lawyering. It wasn't about snitching, it was about money timing and the judge giving him a second shot. Still, the damage was done. He missed out on touring. He missed out on a run. Now he'll be over 30 when he touches back down. That might not sound like a big deal, but in drill, most rappers peak young. It's a youth-driven wave. Coming back. After 4 years isn't impossible, but it's a steep climb. Leaf Ward's story is one of potential cut short. He had the lyrics, he had the pain, he had the hunger, but he also had a Glock with a switch, and in the eyes of the law, that made him a threat today. Leaf sits in federal custody waiting for sentencing. The judge is expected to honor the 46-month plea. His girl still supports him. His fans still stream him. But he won't be in the booth again for years. All because of that one night. One switch, one split-second decision. That's why in this game, the weapon you love the most might just be the one that takes everything away. For Leaf Ward, it was the Glock with the switch.